So this is an incomplete version of the project we're about to start working on. And what you're going to be doing for this project is we've practiced shading spheres, we've talked about how to draw and shade ribbon forms. So we're going to combine those ideas, and you're going to use 3 circles that you turn into spheres and at least 4 ribbons. And the ribbons have to go under and over the spheres at least one point. You can even make them go through if you would like. So I'm going to walk you through how to set this up and get started. And we're going to be doing this on 8x10 or 9x12 paper, so this isn't going to be huge. So when you start thinking about your circles that you're going to make into spheres, you could use things to trace the circles. So you've got some pencil sharpeners at your table that you could use for the small circle. The other thing is, these don't have to be perfect spheres. So remember that we talked about don't draw them from the wrist, draw them from the shoulder, and you can make a good basic one and then go back in and round it out. And you want to think about placement for these. And again, if you don't draw too hard, you can always go back and erase anything and make it even. So it's not perfect, but I'm good with it. I'm good with it. Doesn't have to be perfect, okay? And so I've got 2. To make this like more balanced, I can either put one over here or down here. I think I'm going to put one down here, and it's going to be like in between these 2 sizes. Okay. So I've got 3 circles that I know I'm going to turn into spheres, and I've got to do 4 ribbons. So I'm going to make 1 ribbon that doesn't touch anything, that doesn't go over or under any of my spheres. And remember, to make a ribbon, all I'm doing is just making like a wiggly line, and it goes off the page like that. So I went from one corner to another. Think about how you're placing the ribbons. After you get to this point, remember that you want to make like anywhere there's a fat edge like this, we're just going to kind of make a little indentation to help us know where that ribbon goes. All right, so this one, again, remember with ribbons, whatever the shape is of the top curve is going to be echoed in that bottom curve. So I'm just going to go, okay, it kind of tucks back around and then comes back out. Okay. So there's that one, and then this one kind of curves around, so I'm going to curve around like this. When it gets to there, this one comes around like this, around like this, around like, oops, that one I didn't get to the right spot. Like this, and then this one goes around like that. Okay. So I've got 1 ribbon. Again, before I start using colored pencil, I'll go in and make sure that I have got all my lines where I want them to be. Then, knowing that I want to make at least 1 go over and under, I'm going to use this one for my over and under. So I'm going to make my ribbon start here. It's going to go under my sphere, come out over here, and go over my sphere. And maybe come to this one and go, let's go make it go through it. I'll talk about that part in a second. So I'm going to think about where my form, my ribbon kind of curves here. It's going to curve here. So I'm making it go like this. And then when it goes over, again, I'm just like echoing it. Comes up to that one. And then for the one that goes through, it's going to come from under here, go in, and I have to make a little hole right there. And this one can just go in there, and it's going to come out the other side. And so I've just got it coming out over here, like so. Okay, so I've got 2 ribbons. I need 2 more. And you know, they can be, I can make it go over or under this one if I want to, but I've already done it in one place, so I don't have to. Oh, I forgot to do that line. sorry. So I'll just make this one go over just because it's to show you. So if I want to make another ribbon, let's say I want to start it all the way over here, and it's going to go under this ribbon, and it's going to go under this sphere and come out over there. This one's really simple, so I'm just going to make it wider when it's closer to me, thinner as it gets farther away, and this one barely even curves. Okay, and then I've got room for one more ribbon, and I'm just going to have this one kind of make up this space over here, and I'm going to make this one a little bit wigglier than I've made some of the others. So I'm going to go like that. Wrapping it around and around and around and around and around. Okay, so and then I'm going to let that one go under that one like this. So now I have 3 sphere forms and 4 ribbons, and I'm ready to start thinking about how to color. So with this, what I'm going to do is when I'm ready to color, all my spheres are going to be the same color and all my ribbons are going to be the same color, and then my background will be a color as well. So really, I'm using 3 major colors here. I've already colored in one of my spheres, 2 of my spheres, and I've started a few of my ribbons. So let me just say, when you get ready to color your spheres, you're not going to just use one color. While I did focus on the crimson for my red ones, I also used a poppy red, a white, and a black. So I'm grabbing my white and my black, and I'm also going to use a pink, and I'm also looking for my poppy red. Here it is. Okay, so even though these are just red spheres, to get them to work, I used a multitude of values here. So I've got my darkest red, my medium red, and my pink, and then I've got black and white. So before I ever start coloring, I have to think about where my light source is. So obviously, if I'm looking at this image, I can tell that my light source is hitting these from here, right? So that means that this side of my sphere is going to probably have the most light, and this side have the most dark. Remembering that we shade into the contour, I'm going to start with my darker red, but I'm going to do very light pencil pressure. So I'm going to start by going with the curve of the form. I'm not pressing hard, I'm doing like a middle pencil pressure, and then I'm going to let that pencil pressure kind of dissipate and not push quite as hard as I move up towards the area where I know the light is hitting it. So I'm just taking my time here. I'm going to come back, and the thing with blending with colored pencil is you kind of layer the pencil until you get it to the value that you want. So I'm layering this closer to the edge. I'm bringing it up. And remember too that spheres don't just go one way. I can also bring my value kind of around it, cross contour in this way. And at this point, I feel like I've got a pretty good layer to start of my darker red. I'm gonna put my darker red down. I'm gonna get my poppy red, it's like a middle tone, okay, or a lighter version. And I'm gonna start to go over this. I'm not pressing too hard, because if I press too hard, I end up kind of burnishing it or pushing the waxes together. And I don't really want to do that. I'm just kind of layering the color at this point. Okay. That kind of gives it a little bit more of a rich color. And then I'm going to use my pink. And I'm going to use my pink, I'm going to kind of go into the area I just did. and go just past that area, pressing really lightly in this area. But I'm going to make sure that pink kind of goes all over. Kind of blends all the colors together. I'm not quite burnishing yet, because just in case I need to touch up. I'm going to take my black really lightly, very light pencil pressure to put that dark core shadow in along here. The thing with colored pencil is, you know, you can go back and forth over the same area multiple times and begin to blend. So once I have that black in, once I've layered to the point that I feel like it's pretty close to being done, I can start to push harder, still following the contours, still thinking about those curves, making sure I'm following the curve of the form to make it look more 3D. A lot of people like to rush and they like to think, oh, I'm just going to scribble this color in. But to make it look good, you have to actually take your time, think about the blending, kind of vary your pencil pressure as you begin to apply and layer the color. Lastly, I'm going to take this pink again before I switch to the white. Particularly right around that edge where there's reflected light, I'm going to leave a little room for white down there. I'm going to put a little pink in. And then I'm going to get my white and put in that highlight, blend that a little bit so that I get this sphere-like effect over the whole thing. I'm using my pink to kind of burnish. And then right along that edge where that reflected light is, I'm going to use my white. Now the truth is this ribbon might cast a bit of a shadow, so I'm just going to use a little bit of that deep red to put a little of that curve there to kind of imply a shadow from that ribbon. It kind of probably goes around like that. Alright, so now I've got all of my spheres, and like I said, I was using purple for my ribbons. So I'm getting a dark, a medium, and a light purple to be able to get the values on my ribbons. Again, thinking about where that light source is, you can see here on this one, under it, I've got it darker because the light is hitting the top. And then I've got a darker value here because that one's casting a shadow here. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to finish this part just to kind of show you in this area because I've got two ribbons that overlap here. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to use my darkest value right up against the edge. Remember that you can kind of layer with little lines to go in and follow the contour of the ribbon. Just like you follow the contour of the sphere, I'm also following that contour of my ribbon. I've put in a layer of the dark. I'm layering a little with the mid-tone. I'm going to get my lightest value right against the edge because the light might be hitting it there. And the white right along that part where it curves. I feel like I'm going to take my black, put a little bit of black under here. Again, I'm not pushing too hard, but this is in front of that, and I really want to make it look like it's in front of it. One of the hard things to do is when you're using the same colors, like I'm using the same color as far as purple on both of these ribbons. So to make them look different and not the same, one of the things I'm doing is this ribbon, I'm making the contour go this way. This ribbon, I'm going to make the contour go this way. And notice how much lighter the value is here. Even though it's on the underside, the light is up here, it's still going to have a lighter value. Nope, not red. Darkest along that outside edge. I can use my lighter color to help start to blend it. So when you're using colored pencil, when you start this project, you're going to want to pick a mid-tone, a darker value, and a lighter value of whatever color it is you decide to use. You're going to be taking your time, you're going to be layering the colors. You're going to have to think about where that light source is as you work to shade these. If you don't know where your light source is, it's going to be really hard to make sure that you get your values right. But as long as you're thinking, oh, my light is over here the whole time, then I know as soon as I get to this part right here is where it's going to be the lightest. And over here is where it's going to be the most middle. And over here is going to be farthest away from the light, so it's the darkest. As you work on this project, know that your background color can be any color you want, and you don't have to worry as much about the lighting for a background color. You're just kind of putting that in to add a contrasting color. So may I suggest, when you choose colors for your spheres and your ribbons, that you don't choose yellow. Yellow doesn't get as many different values or shades. You could use orange if that is one that you want to use, but it's going to be too hard to get a range of values with yellow. But yellow would make a great background color, and it's the color I plan to use in the background of my piece. So this gives you the basics of how to work on this project. We're going to have several class periods to work on this, so no one should be rushing through. You should be making time in class. I will tell you how much you should complete in each class period based on how far we get at the end of each class. But no, this is one of our big projects where we're learning to create form from shadow. So this is a really good base level learning to create depth in a picture, learning to make something look a little bit 3D, and I can't wait to see how yours turn out.